The year is 1873. John Michael Kohler, who immigrated from Austria, and Charles Sliberzon. And I apologize if I pronounce any of these incorrectly. I'm not the best at pronunciations. Would purchase the Sheboygan Union Iron Steel Foundry from Jacob Vollrath, who was John Kohler's father-in-law, for $5,000, which would be equivalent to you spending $130,862.08 in the year 2024. In the early days of Kohler, Kohler made cast iron cemetery crosses and steel farm equipment to mount a horse to. Kohler had a moment of pure genius in 1883, creating the company's first bathtub by taking a horse trough and applying a powder enamel to it, which started Kohler down the path of the plumbing business. Kohler was and is still the type of company, if there's a market for a particular product, they would make a product to compete in that space. Kohler would make a wide variety of faucets and sinks, as well as bathtubs, drinking fountains with bubbling valves where the water would shoot straight up, and this is also where the term bubbler came from. Kohler had some bad timing or bad luck. When they first started, there was a depression, and they were hit hard by it. That depression lasted until 1878. Sliberzon sold his interest in the company to Herman Hassen and John Stein, who both worked at Kohler. In 1880, the company established a new, larger machine shop. Unfortunately, it would all burn in a horrific fire just months after opening. John Kohler would purchase 21 acres of farmland in the absolute middle of nowhere in Riverside, which was 4 miles down the road, to build an all-new factory, and would move the operation there. The company would take on a totally different name: Kohler, Hassen, and Stein. It's important to note that John Kohler didn't buy the 21 acres in Riverside the day after the plant burned to a crisp. They moved operations to Jefferson and north of 7th Street, and would continue operations from that location until the factory in Riverside was finished. The factory in Riverside was finished in October of 1900 and employed 250 people. The Kohler Company would suffer a catastrophic blow on November 5th, 1900, at the age of 56. John Michael Kohler, the original founder and part owner, would die. His two sons would take over and run the company. 3 months later, tragedy would strike again. February of 1901, the new foundry suffered a catastrophic fire with estimated damages of $66,000 or $2.4 million in 2024. In 1920, Kohler would get into the engine business with the standby generator, also known as the Kohler Automatic Power and Light, which was capable of producing 1,500 watts of power, designed to be used in the middle of nowhere or apocalyptic situations where there is no electricity. In 1939, Kohler would develop their first diesel, liquid-cooled engine, and it would be used by the Army in World War II, where they would use this engine on literally everything. The diesel engines made between 5 and 20 horsepower could be had in single to 4-cylinder configurations. The motors ran between 1,200 and 2,400 RPM. After the realization that these engines could be used for just about everything, in 1948, after the war, Kohler opened a small engine factory where it would build engines for industrial applications, engines to run not only generators, but also air compressors, water pumps, factory equipment, tractors, anything that needed an engine. Kohler had an engine for the job. The K90 would appear in 1951. The K90 was a single-cylinder air-cooled unit that was built of cast iron. The K160 came in 1952. By 1959, K-series engines were in high demand, not only for the U.S. market, but also for the overseas markets, where the engines would be used to power small boats and adapted to power anything that they needed an engine to power. Kohler would continue to make different engines for every application imaginable throughout the decades. Their engines were found in everything from air compressors to tractors, and they built a solid reputation in the small engine world. Even to this day, Kohler is still building engines. All right, instead of the Would You Rather segment today, tell me a story of a Kohler engine you had in whatever application it was used for in the comment section below. This is a bit of a side note, and I didn't put this in there because I haven't been able to find anything on it again. Kohler actually made an engine before their very first engine, before the electric generator. They made an engine called horsepower. It was a horse-driven mechanical mechanism that would double the output of the horse, but I can't find any information on it now that I'm down south. I should have saved that information that I found. I scoured the internet for 2 days and I can't find anything. If you guys know any information or have any information on what I'm talking about, put it in the comment section below. I was really intrigued by that, and I thought maybe that's where the term horsepower came from, because the machine was called horsepower. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. That one, I will accept either the band or the solo artist, because they did have a solo career. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. I read and answer all comments posted. I don't say that for self-worth. I just say that because a lot of times people write comments and the person that runs the channel never gets back to them. I run this channel like a community that I'm very much a part of. There's a second way and a third way. The second way is we have a Facebook group that correlates with this YouTube channel. It gives you the opportunity to share your rides, stories, experiences. Anything car related is shareable on there. If you don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email at what_it's_like@yahoo.com. So if I see you in the comment section on Facebook, or if you send me an email, just know that I appreciate all of the support. And until next time, toodaloo!